FileMaker has 4 modes that allow you to manipulate the program in distinct ways. We've already covered Browse mode, which enables you to do data entry essentially. There are 3 other modes. If you go to the View menu, you'll see that the modes are here at the top. Browse, and it's got a check mark because we're in Browse mode. Find mode, and Find mode allows you to work with found sets. It's displayed over here what your found set is, but you can make your found set whatever you want. And this allows you to export just the found set, or print just the found set, or sort just the found set. So found sets are very important. Find mode is one of the most important modes to understand. Then we've done a little bit of work with layout mode, and that's probably the most complicated section. You can do so much with layout mode. It's where you set up your interface, where you put fields on the layout, where you work with parts and all kinds of things. And then you have preview mode. Preview mode allows you to look at your records as pages. And FileMaker tries to fit as many records per page as possible. So it's an interesting view. It's kind of like a print preview mode. And I'd recommend, since you're going to be going in and out of these layouts hundreds of times, even thousands of times over the lifetime of a solution when you're developing it, that you remember these keyboard commands. It's Command or Apple B for the Macintosh, which corresponds to the B in Browse. And on Windows, it's a Control. All these would change to Control on the Windows mode. Find mode is Command or Control F. Layout mode is Command or Control L. And preview mode, since P is already taken for print, is U. So get familiar with those. I don't recommend you remember all the keyboard commands for all the menu items, just the ones that you're going to be using a lot. Like again, we said Manage Database before was a good one. Script Maker will be a good one, as you'll find out. And these modes will be good because you can quickly go in and out of these modes and do what you need to do. And I often use a keyboard and go to the mouse and back and forth. I don't use the keyboard commands for everything. So let's go ahead and take a look at Find mode. Now what you want to notice is, the first thing is probably most obvious, is you have these little magnifying glasses in here. This indicates that you're in Find mode, so it's really helpful. It came in FileMaker 10, so in FileMaker 9 it wasn't there, because the reason they added it was people got confused and did their data entry in Find mode, not realizing they're actually in Find mode. As you become familiar with FileMaker, it will become very obvious that you're in Find mode, even if you didn't have these magnifying glasses. But for people who are using your solution you've designed it for, it may not be so obvious. So these little magnifying glasses help. So if people accidentally enter their data in Find mode, it's going to be gone when they close the file and open it up again. So that's why these magnifying glasses are here, and it's one of those indicators. Other indicators are, it says Find right here. Under the View menu, it says Find mode has a check mark next to it. You also have a different status toolbar up here. It's got a lot of different things. In fact, you have the Rolodex here. It's dimmed out right now, but it actually can appear so that you can walk through requests. And you'll see the little pop-up here that says Go to the next find request. Well, we're going to cover finds extensively later on. You'll find out what a request is. But realize that this status toolbar changes to meet the requirements of this mode. So you can walk through these different requests with the same thing that walked through records in Browse mode. Same with the slider bar. The same with going to which request you want. You'll also notice that you have different items in your status toolbar. And you can customize this separately also. You can go in to customize the status toolbar for each mode. So remember that. You can go to each one of these 4 modes and customize it to your needs. So we'll find out more about what all these things do, but realize it's different when you're in Find mode. You still do have the layout menu and the type of view, but then you have some different items here like matching records. What's that? Well, we'll cover that. And you have tons of operators here as well that we'll be covering. So make sure you take a look at this and understand what Find mode is for. It's for finding records. That's the most important thing. It's like we could come in here and type in JOHN and then perform the find and find all records that have John on it. Or we could type in Osborne and find all records that have John and Osborne on it. Or we could come down here and say I want to find all people who are in Chino Hills, just by typing it in there. In fact, we don't even have to type the whole thing if we don't want to. CH would find Chino Hills and Chino and any other city that started with CH. So this is a powerful mode, and it'll take all your records, look at them, and change that found set so you can manipulate just that found set. Like I said, export or sort or print or whatever you might do works on just the found set. So let's go ahead and take a look at layout mode. You could do it this way from the View menu, but you can also come down here and change modes. And we've already covered this a little bit, but this is the most complicated mode of all of them. That's because this is where you design your interfaces, where you put your fields on here. It's where you work with parts and things like that. So we're going to go over how all this stuff in the status toolbar works. You've got your text, you've got rectangles, you've got different types of objects here, which we'll go over. There's the new charting feature right there, which you do in layout mode. You have the Rolodex here, which goes through all the layouts. We only have one layout right now, but it will allow you to walk through the different layouts. And the slider bar is there. You have all that stuff, and you also have the ability to turn on and off things like the inspector or show the additional toolbar. There's all kinds of things you can do here, so we're going to go over this more extensively later on. I just want to get you familiar with it. This is where you do your design work. This represents itself in Browse and Find mode, and of course Preview mode. So this is where you really design your database. Now this is not schema. We could take this field off the layout, and it would not affect that field, except it wouldn't be viewable on this layout. The only way you can do that is in Manage Databases to delete that field permanently. This is just off this view. So think of layout mode as a view of your information. And one other thing you want to notice is that we have a different menu here. When we go to layout mode, we have the layouts menu. When we go into Find mode, we have the requests menu. When we're in Browse mode, we have the records menu. In fact, a lot of the menus change, but this is the main menu, this menu that we're looking at that changes for each mode, but other menus change as well, like the insert menu. We'll take a look at it in layout mode. There's quite a bit more options here in layout mode. So realize that when you're going through and familiarizing yourself with these different modes, that the menus also change. Not just this stuff here in the status toolbar, and not just this stuff down here, but the menus change. They're context sensitive depending on what mode you're in. And so we have one more mode, it's Preview mode. Preview mode allows you to see as many records per page as possible. So you see as we scroll down here that we have 1, 2, and we couldn't quite fit the third record on there, so it's on the next page. So if we click, we'll be on the next page, and you'll see that here we are. We have the third and fourth records. And you notice we have a question mark here as well. Well, for performance reasons, FileMaker doesn't figure out your maximum pages until you go to the end. And then once you do that, as you're walking through them, you'll have that total number of pages here. And there's different options here and things like that, but you will notice that it still has the records menu. It's just that the things you can't do in preview mode that you could do in browse mode are dimmed out. So it doesn't have a specialized menu for it. So you really want to become familiar with these different modes and learn how to get around quickly and efficiently so you can really work with FileMaker, because you'll be using these modes all the time.